So with the finale of Volume 7 just around the corner, or the last two episodes, if you haven't seen episode 12 just yet, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything, I wanted to talk about the plan that Ironwood came up with at the end of episode 11. The plan to raise Atlas into the atmosphere out of Salem's reach, thus preventing her from obtaining the two relics that are currently housed within Atlas, the Relic of Creation and the Relic of Knowledge, but in the process, abandoning the entirety of Remnant, and at this moment, leaving Mantle to die to Salem's army that is currently on its way. Now, it's likely as the plot of Volume 7 reaches its conclusion and continues into Volume 8 that this plan just simply will not reach its conclusion. Atlas might start to rise, but it's pretty apparent that Atlas is going to fall. The Relic of Creation is going to be removed at some point. The relics are probably going to be brought together at some point in the plot of RWBY, but Atlas is probably going to fall. Whether it's a gentle landing or a catastrophic one remains to be seen, but I wanted to discuss if this plan is a good plan, the obstacles standing in its way, and what Remnant would look like if this plan did come to fruition, if Atlas was successfully raised into the atmosphere. And also, on the flip side, if they did decide to stand and fight, which I think they're going to be forced to do, as things progress. Now, currently, Ironwood wants to raise Atlas into the atmosphere, and there are a few things standing in his way. One, of course, is our main protagonists. Team RWBY, then there's Crow, there's Robin, who doesn't want Mantle to be abandoned and die, Team Juniper or Alpine, and, all of our main protagonists. On top of that, there's also the things causing Ironwood's paranoia that caused him to frantically go on this path to this mission. Cinder leaving the Black Queen piece in his office is a dead giveaway that, Salem has forces within Atlas already. Raising it to the atmosphere is going to bring those forces with them. Cinder and Neo are currently on Atlas, causing some mayhem. Cinder wants the Winter Maiden powers, and after getting them, if she gets them, will be going after the relics. So that's going to have to be dealt with, as well as Neo. Not to mention, they're going to have to act very quickly. Ironwood needs to get Atlas to the atmosphere before Salem's army arrives. We learned in that episode, in episode 11, that all of their long-range detection, protection, technology was disabled or destroyed by Salem's army that's already on the continent, so they could be just mere moments away. Then Salem's army could arrive before Atlas even gets started rising into the sky. So, there's that aspect which might ruin the plan right from the get-go. But, let's say that Atlas is successful in getting itself to the atmosphere. RWBY, or Team RWBY, and all the protagonists are able to be quelled. Cinder is dealt with, Neo is dealt with, and Atlas successfully gets to the atmosphere. Well, this isn't exactly a permanent solution. The Relic of Creation can keep Atlas floating there for eternity, in theory. It seems that the Relic of Creation is continuously outputting energy. It has been for decades and hundreds of years, so, after centuries, it'll probably keep outputting energy. That's not going to be a problem. The problem is sustaining the people in Atlas. Ironwood did say that there's climate technology to, keep people alive, keep crops growing, so there's still food and everything like that. But, what's powering that technology? It's not the Staff of Creation, because it can only power one thing at a time. It's going to be keeping Atlas floating. So the stuff powering the technology keeping people alive is probably dust. That substance that is very necessary for a lot of technology on Remnant, on Atlas, and has to be mined from the ground? Yeah, something that's going to eventually run out and not be obtainable up in the sky. So they're going to be forced back down to the ground at some point. And at that point, Salem could just have an army of Grimm waiting for them. Because, again, as Salem stated in episode 11, time has never been on Ironwood's side. It has always been on Salem's. If she has to wait a decade for Atlas to return to the ground, what does it matter to her? It doesn't make any difference. And that just gives her all the more time to do other things and conquer the rest of Remnant. Now, if Atlas is successful in getting into the sky, there are a couple, or at least one good thing that could come about this. If Atlas is in the sky, that gives them the opportunity to work on more technology. Potentially they could develop some other technology that could be helpful for Remnant, but in particular, develop the global communication system and make Atlas the new global communications tower. So depending on how quickly they could get that up and running, they could restore communications and let everyone else know in the world of Remnant what exactly happened. But for that to happen, they would need a Remnant to, send out the message to. Because as soon as they abandon Mantle, Ironwood's taking his army with him. So Mantle is going to be wiped off the face of the earth. Essentially, the Kingdom of Atlas is going to be no threat to Salem anymore, and that entire army that she created to take out Atlas and confront Ironwood's army is going to be pretty much unscathed. So she can just pick up that army and redirect it somewhere else that's a threat to Salem, or somewhere else that she just wants to target. Now, there's only one real threat to Salem that is left in the entire world of Remnant, at least in a major fashion, because it's the Kingdom of Vacuo. The Kingdom of Vacuo is going to be Remnant's last stand. If Atlas is to fall, which is probably pretty likely, there will be some forces that will be able to go to Vacuo, and that'll be one of the places of the last stand. Maybe Beacon Academy, but currently Beacon Academy, the Kingdom of Vale, Haven Academy, the Kingdom of Mistral are no threat to Salem. Beacon is in shambles, the Wyvern is still there drawing more Grim. Sure, there are strong huntsmen and huntresses, the previous professors of Beacon Academy, Glinda Goodwitch, Dr. Oobleck, Professor Port, who are all trying to reclaim Beacon Academy, but it's just a continuous battle as the Wyvern is drawing more Grim. And then there's Haven Academy. In the Kingdom of Mistral, at least the huntsmen and huntresses who were congregating or went to Haven Academy, that, went there for jobs and things like that, Leonardo had them all killed off. Crow went searching for more allies and could not find any when he was there. So Mistral is going to be easy for Salem to overtake as well, especially with a giant army. And then, of course, Menagerie. I don't really think they have much of a military, so they wouldn't be much of a threat to a giant horde of Grim if they decided to, overrun the place. So Salem would be diverting all of her attention to Vacuo. Now, don't get me wrong, this would not be an easy fight for Salem to win. Theodore would have plenty of forces at his disposal, not to mention the environment itself would be difficult for Salem to, wage war on. Theodore and all of the people of Shade Academy, the huntsmen and huntresses, all of the ones who came from Haven Academy and from Beacon Academy as well. So, Shade Academy is going to be one hell of a fortress and have a pretty strong army, so it's going to be a tough battle. But Salem will have more time to prepare an even greater army, strategies. She might already have people from her inner circle that we haven't met yet already infiltrating Shade Academy and trying to get close to Theodore, find the Summer Maiden, find more access to the relic, things like that. So there's a lot that Salem could plan for. So within 6 months of Atlas getting to the atmosphere, I doubt they would be able to get a global communications technology up and running. So Salem would have the most advantageous of positions, the aspect of surprise. She could send her entire army to Vacuo and overrun the place before they even knew what hit them. And with that being the case, I think Vacuo would fall. It'd be a hell of a battle, but Vacuo would fall, and if the Summer Maiden who is likely somewhere in Vacuo, honestly, I really question why they have kept each of the respective maidens in the kingdom where their respective relic is housed, because the Fall Maiden was in the Kingdom of Vale. The Winter Maiden is pretty much right next to the Relic of Creation, in the same building almost, in the, Atlas Academy, and then the Spring Maiden was in, the Kingdom of Mistral. So it's very likely that the Summer Maiden is in the Kingdom of Vacuo currently. I feel like they should have just gotten the maidens and put them on the opposite sides of the world. That would have made sense, but that's a different topic. If Salem's able to get her hands on the Relic of Destruction, all of a sudden, Salem now has free reign to, conquer the rest of Remnant, but not only that, I'm wondering if the Relic of Destruction would be something that could actually reach Atlas in the atmosphere. Because, yeah, the Grim can't survive in the atmosphere, sure. But Salem herself has magic, so if she was able to amplify a Grim through magic, or use magic on herself to allow her to float up to Atlas, or breathe in the atmosphere, and then, use the Relic of Destruction on the base of Atlas to make it fall from the sky, I think that's something that's pretty feasible. Because the Relic of Creation isn't making Atlas float on itself. Ironwood stated, or on its own, I should say. Ironwood stated that it's constantly outputting energy. I'm guessing that energy is what's being put into technology that is making Atlas float. Because I don't think you can just state to the Relic of Creation, or if there is a djinn of some sort in the Relic of Creation, just like, hey, put the power towards this, you know, make Atlas float, and it'll do it. Maybe that's the way it would work. I don't exactly know. But, yeah, I think either way, Atlas raising into the sky is just a bad decision. Because if they go up to the sky, the rest of Remnant will likely fall. Atlas will eventually have to return to the Remnant, and they'll be returning to die anyways. But as I said, on the flip side, standing and fighting, well, that's not really a great option either, because Salem has an army, and Harriet made a pretty good point. They already ran themselves ragged, trying to defend Mantle against just a regular but large-scale Grim attack, which tired them all out. So now an army of Grim, a coordinated army with a leader, being the person who's creating Grim, and also these Grim are going to be a lot stronger. It's a battle that is going to cause a lot of casualties, and it might end up that Salem would get both relics anyways. But if Salem is just able to bide her time and wait for Atlas to return, she's eventually going to get the relics. I think standing and fighting gives at least a chance for survival. There is the possibility of, you know, giving the relics to someone, maybe Penny, because she can fly at pretty fast speeds, and just telling her to get the hell out of there. Maybe Salem would divert some of her forces to go towards that, or I'm not exactly sure how this is going to turn out, or, you know, what real hopes they have of beating Salem's army when it gets to Atlas. My guess is either using Atlas itself as a weapon against Salem's army to wipe out a majority of it, or possibly Amity Coliseum, but they need that as the Global Communications Project. One thing that I would really like to see is Penny, considering that she's with Winter currently, is if she's able to be with the Winter Maiden, if the Winter Maiden powers don't actually go to Cinder or whoever ends up getting them, if she's able to get her hands on the Relic of Creation, take it from Atlas, put it in Amity Coliseum, and, you know, get the power put into that and just raise that up to the atmosphere. That would solve all their problems. They'd have the global communications back up, and there would be a relic out of Salem's reach, so she wouldn't be able to, you know, have all four of them, bring the gods back and wipe out humanity. But if Atlas is in the atmosphere, Ironwood's army is now gone, a major fighting force of Remnant, and Salem could, after taking out Vacuo, which again, wouldn't be easy, but is still probably likely for Salem to do. She has the aspect of surprise, etc., so she would have free reign to wipe out humanity and Faunus anyways. So, yeah, standing and fighting and trying to do something against Salem seems to be the best choice. Out of the two really not great choices, but it at least has some possibility of victory versus, in my mind, none at all. An eventual demise. All they're doing is buying more time for the people currently on Atlas. Not to mention, the people currently on Atlas, there's a lot of them who aren't really used to doing the hard labor for themselves. From what we've seen, the people in Atlas, or at least the upper echelon of Atlas, seem to have a bit of arrogance around them, thinking that they're better than others, and I don't really know how it would work if all of a sudden Atlas is on its own without Mantle, without, you know, the people they're used to working for them. They would have to work for themselves. I just don't think it would go that well. Plus, Ironwood's acting very irrationally right now. I don't know how much longer he's going to survive in the series, to be honest. But, you know, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think my idea is plausible for what would happen if Atlas was actually raised into the sky? That Vacuo would be the last stand against Salem, but with Salem having the ability to just send her army there and completely overrun them before they could actually prepare for battle, because they would have no idea Atlas left, or that the Kingdom of Atlas pretty much wouldn't exist anymore. So, yeah, let me know which side of the argument or which side of the decision you fall on, whether you agree with Ironwood that raising Atlas is the best choice, or whether you think standing and fighting is really the only option. Let me know down in the comments below. Be civil about it. There are going to be people who disagree and have opposing opinions. The fandom is actually quite split on this. I've seen a lot of people supporting either way. I really like that it's not just completely one-sided, but, you know, be civil, be kind. No need to get angry or attack other people for having a different opinion. But still, let me know what your thoughts are on Ironwood's plan. Whether you agree, disagree, what you think a better plan would be. You know, I look forward to seeing what you guys think of. So, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you want some more RWBY content. Tweet me at PhoenixKnight7, and I'll see you guys in the next video.